everyone, welcome back to the Sarai Show. This video is a little different, or at least I feel a little different from the usual ones that I've been posting. It's more like an apology, an acknowledgement, and honestly, it's more like a epiphany that I should have had a lot sooner. Um, I want to start though by saying that this isn't about, I'm not trying to center myself in a struggle that isn't mine. Um, I just kind of want to admit that for a very long time, I knew, I knew something was happening, something terrible that I didn't like, but I didn't understand it the way I should have. Like, understand it. And what I'm referring to is when George Floyd was murdered a few years back, when the Black Lives Matter movement reignited, I called myself an ally. But if I'm being completely honest, I wasn't willing to be an ally at the expense of my own comfort. I knew what was happening. I knew the statistics. I watched the videos like everybody else. I knew of the fear that the Black community was expressing. But I also thought, well, what can I do about it? I didn't want to be dramatic, overly dramatic. I didn't want to be that one person making things uncomfortable for the people around me, bringing something like that up. And deep down, I think a part of me wanted to believe that maybe it wasn't as bad. Uh, because if it was truly as bad as people were saying, then it would mean I lived in a country willing to tolerate something horrifying. And that was a reality that I guess I just wasn't ready to accept. Uh, but yesterday, I was talking to my sister on the phone. She's a couple of years younger than me, so we're, peers. And that kind of changed a lot of things for me. We were on the phone and we were both, avoiding saying what we really felt, but the truth was we were scared. Like, we're scared not of being deported. We're both US citizens, but we're scared of what's happening right now in this country. We're scared of being seen as people who could be targeted, scared that speaking Spanish in public could make us a target, scared that someone could look at us and assume we don't belong here, that law enforcement or some weirdo, like an extremist, emboldened by the rhetoric that we're all seeing, could decide to intimidate, harass, or harm us in worst case scenario. And it finally hit me when we finally talked about it. This is what Black people have been trying to tell us for a very long time. And it's one thing to know that police brutality exists, that racial profiling exists, that systemic oppression exists in the country you live in, but it's another to feel it, to feel the paranoia, the anxiety, the awareness that simply existing in your own skin makes you a potential target. So I finally understood what it meant to be in a room full of people who support you who empathize with you, but not in a way that makes them angry enough to do something. uh, People who care, like people that actually genuinely care, but not enough to be outraged the way that you're outraged. And so it makes you feel a little resentful. And so then I realized I was that person when Black people were, begging for this country to care. I was being that person. I was the outsider. I was that person who thought, yes, this is horrible, but what can we do? Um, I was that person who thought, like, I mean, this is really, really bad, but is it that bad? Is it happening like everywhere, every single time? I was that person who was too uncomfortable to engage because engaging meant reckoning with the reality that the country I love and call home allows this to happen in this day and age. Speaking of the devil, she just called and ruined my video. She interrupted it. Anyways, where was I? So yeah, after realizing that, I was just very ashamed actually of realizing it this late. Um, I was ashamed for being dismissive in my silence. I'm ashamed for treating like the pain of other Americans, a group of other Americans, as an abstract issue instead of an emergency. And I'm ashamed for like waiting until I felt the fear close enough, like to reality, truly to get it. It shouldn't take personal fear to demand justice. It shouldn't take experiencing a fraction of what, Black people experience day to day to finally say, oh, enough is enough. And I don't say this to center myself or to ask for, forgiveness or anything like that. I say it because it's true and odd, because like suddenly I finally understand, and understanding comes with responsibility. And even though I still don't know what to do about it, I feel like speaking about it is better than staying silent, because it's not enough to know. We have to actually do. We have to speak. We have to fight. And so, if you've ever been where I was on the sidelines until yesterday, knowing but not knowing, I just ask that you really listen, to sit with the discomfort, and to ask, just to kind of ask yourself, what are we doing here? And why haven't we made this a priority? This is not okay, because if it happened to me, I wouldn't be okay with it.